Okay, good morning. So we're up to Siman Reish Tzadi Tes Halacha Zayin, working through the halachas of Motzei Shabbos. So says the Mechaber, Hamavdil al Hayayin al Shulchanei. Someone is making Havdalah, and he makes Ber Paragofen as part of his Havdalah, and he's al HaShulchan, which means that Melav Malka is sort of ready to go. Afilu Hivdil Kaidim Shenot Liyadov, even if he makes Havdalah before he's actually done the Tilas Yadayim to wash for his Melav Malka, Yod Poite Hayayin Shabbatei Chamazon. The brach of Ber Paragofen is going to exempt another brach of Ber Paragofen which he may have during the Melav Malka. She'ein tzarich levarich olav, he doesn't need to make another Ber Paragofen if he has wine during Melav Malka. V'yesh omrim deloi pata, ela imkein notel yod of kodim shehivdil. That he can only patas if he's so somach l'suda that he's already washed his hands. Then he makes Havdalah, then he makes Hamotzi. So I have said, we'll see the footnotes in a sec. V'im hivdil techila, and if you made Havdalah first, then tzarich levarich achrov bracha me'ein shalish. But ordinarily, as soon as you finish Havdalah, you should make al hagefen, you should make the bracha me'ein shalish. Okay, says the Mishnah Berurah, al shulchane lav dafka. It doesn't mean literally he's by the table. It just means that if he's in a different room, then it's different. But lav dafka al shulchan, if if he's in the dining room and the table is nearby, that's also okay. Tasham have Havdalah midi achrina, because if he's in a separate room, then Havdalah is separate. His Melav Malka. But if he's in the same room, that's called al shulchan. Because then that's the idea would be, the das would be to drink afterwards in that suda. LMK not liyadov. Because once you've washed your hands, then you're sort of connected to that meal. So how can you make Havdalah between the Tilas Yadayim and Hamotzi? So he says over there, if you look at 28, Sham Kosov Shekivin She'ena Rishai Lechel Kedem Havdalah. Since you can't eat before Havdalah, the Daite Lechel Miyad, and your intention is to eat immediately after Havdalah, Ein Havdalah Nechsheves Chesed Chadas Bein Atila LeBroch Hamotzi. And therefore, you're making Havdalah between the Tilas Yadayim and Hamotzi, that's not considered the Chesed Chadas. Okay. Chav Vav, V'im Hivdil Tchile, if you made Havdalah first, Haga, Zuhi Maskonas Das HaYesh Omrim. This is the maskon of the Yesh Omrim, the Svir Lahu, the Masha Hivdil Kodim Anatila, Afal Pishu Ashulchan, Eina Shaykh Lamasha Yishta Teicha Mozen Achkach. The Yesh Omrim is saying no, that once you've Havdalah is not connected to the Melava Malka, which you're going to later have. And therefore, you need a new Ber Paragofen on the wine. And therefore, you need to make an al hagefen, a bracha achrona, on the wine before you have Melava Malka. If you literally go straight into your Melava Malka, then you'll be exempt from bracha achrona. And so too, b'toich suda, that you don't make a bracha on the wine, kadei rishona, because safik bracha is the hakel. V'ayin le'el b'siman kufayin dalet siftalet d'mashe kosav nesham b'mishnah berurah. And therefore, the best thing to do is make Havdalah, make an al hagefen, and then 10 minutes later, if you want to have Melav Malka, do it then. Just make a little gap between the two. I guess that avoids the problem. But if you go straight into Melav Malka, then you make Havdalah, and then you don't make al hagefen, nor do you make a Ber Paragofen on any wine you're going to have during Melav Malka.
I think on Sukkot, we just have to do a leishik on Sukkot straight away after the...
Right, so it's
after Havdalah, like sort of connect to Havdalah.
Yeah. And though you need the leishev on the Ber Paragofen in the Sukkah as well. So even if you just have the Havdalah, you make a leishev in Havdalah, I think. No?
Yeah, do you make a leishev? Havdalah, you make a in the Sukkah. You make a leishev, I think.
There's days. Yeah, but I'm saying you made a Ber Paragofen on Havdalah.
Yes, but you make... you make a leishev on Ber Paragofen. There's no more consider.
I know, but isn't drinking the wine a Kviyas Suda? I can't remember. I thought you do make a leishev on a Havdalah in the Sukkah. Kenzai, I can't remember. Maybe not. Yeah, can't remember. Okay. Ches. When you do this, you make hagefen on the Havdalah, and that exempts wine you're going to have in the Melav Malka. So it goes together, and therefore you don't need to make a bracha achrona ala keish Havdalah. If you only have one glass of wine, And you think that they'll bring you more wine later, Hamavdil al Isakais, and then you make Havdalah on that case, and then they don't bring any more wine for you, or Beirach Birchas Hamazon below case, and therefore you've drunk your one glass of wine for Havdalah, and now you want to bench, and obviously there's no more wine, so therefore you have to make Birchas Hamazon without a case. There are those who say that you need to actually make a alagefen on the case shel Havdalah. So let's say the Mishnah Berurah, Chshepoita. Hainu, to Oz Bevada Amrinan, to Shtia Chada, he Ubirchas Hamazon Poita, the case Havdalah Brocha Achrona. So if you're going to go straight into Malav Malka, then it's clear that Birchas Hamazon is going to exempt the wine and the Brocha Achrona for the wine drunk in Havdalah. Even if you later do the Birchas Hamazon without a case, the very Birchas Hamazon patters the ala gefen that you needed to say on the wine. If you haven't got any wine during the meal, for gam ein lo kos Birchas Hamazon, and so too you haven't got any wine for Birchas Hamazon, sheyifta gam osa derech agav v'brocha achrona shaloi, that would exempt you on the brocha achrona. Oz yeshomrim de'ena nifta b'Birchas Hamazon. There are those who say that the Birchas Hamazon afterwards does not help you. For tzarich levarich brocha achrona ala kos Havdalah, you need to say a brocha achrona on the kos Havdalah. V'zeu tamtzis biu divrei Shulchan Aruch, and that's really what the Shulchan Aruch is saying over here. V'savur she'oviu. De'ilav hachi, what's pshat that you think the wine is coming? Because halimavur b'reish sadivov sif gimel de'yesh omrim de'yechel kedem Havdalah, that you should first of all you eat before Havdalah. V'achach yivarich Birchas Hamazon v'yavdil al kos echad. If you've only got one glass of wine and you know that's all you've got, then really your sequence should be that you make Havdalah, and then you eat, you have your Malav Malka, then you make Havdalah, and then on the same you make Birchas Hamazon v'yavdil al kos echad. You're making Havdalah and Birchas Hamazon on the same case. That's if you know you've only got one glass of wine. But here you're anticipating more wine coming. That's why it's not telling you to follow that sequence. Because otherwise, what you should that what you do is you make Havdalah, you drink the wine, and then you make an alagefen. And then don't wait to sort of be yotze with Birchas Hamazon. Just make Havdalah, drink the wine, and make an alagefen, and then you have your Malav Malka later. Chavtes shetzarich levarich v'af the gabi kos kiddush pasak hashulchan aruch le'el b'siman reish ayin beis yud the ein tzarich levarich birchas brocha achrona achrov b'chol gavni, that on kiddush we don't make an alagefen. Friday night, for example, tonight, Mr. You don't make an alagefen before the Suda, the Birchas Hamazon Peitartei, but that could be different because Kiddush Shani, Kiddush is different, Shehi Tzarech Suda, the Ein Kiddush Ad Mokum Suda, and therefore Kiddush is very much connected to the meal. Masha Ein Kein Havdalah is different, and therefore it's less reason to say that the Birchas Hamazon of Malav Malka patters the wine of Havdalah, of the alagefen. V'hine yesh hayesh omrim, who hazeh who das hatur shecholek b'svar zu shekosavnu v'ayim mogan Avram shechiach harosh v'yisrele lechalek b'zeh v'chein b'veh hagra datik mogan Avram v'alkein nirshim lo birach chedem asuda lo yivarach achakach. Therefore, you didn't make a berberg oven before, then if you didn't make an alagefen before, then you don't make it afterwards. Okay, Tess. Imroid Salisa Tekaf Lavdola. If you want to go into Malav Malka straight away, best not bring the bread to the table before you make Havdalah. Vim heavy, and if you did, and there's bread or chalas, whatever on the table, peris olav mapa mechase. Interesting, cover the chalas and Malav Malka for the same reason. If you should muktam b'pasu, because bread eretz chitos comes before gefen. And therefore you should really have put the bread first, but you can't because you've got to make Havdalah. So therefore, if you've got Malav Malka at the time of Havdalah ready on the table, cover over the chalas. Tess says Mishnah Berurah, Lissoy Tekav. If you're not eating straight away, so you don't need to cover it. Because if you're not ready to eat straight away, then there's no inyan. You can have the bread out, but I'm not planning on eating it. So therefore, there's no din kadima there, and therefore you can just make Havdalah properly. Even though you can't eat before Havdalah, have a bizui lepas sheyakdim ledova acher. It's a bizoin for the pas if you do the ber pragofen first. Lochein yesh lechasois, and therefore you should cover it. Okay, good. Yud. Also, lasos shum malacha kodim sheyavdil. You're not allowed to do any malacha before you make havdalah. Ve'imhivdil bat tefillah muta. But if you've made havdalah in tefillah and atzachin anton in Shemon Esra, then it's okay. Afal pisha dain lehivdil ala kais, and therefore, even though you have made havdalah ala kais, you can therefore drive home or do any other malacha or whatever. V'im tzarich lasos malacha kodim sheyavdil bat tefillah. And if you need to do malacha before you've daven mariv and you've made havdalah in tefillah, oime Hamavdil hakodesh bein hachol. You say the words Hamavdil Bein HaKodesh Bein HaChol. Below bracha va'isa malacha, and then you do it without a bracha, and then you do malacha. Okay, let's just do the Mishnah Berurah till there. Lamed Beis Shum malacha va'afidu chafotzim asur medivrei sofrim. You can't even do drabonons before you've made havdalah in either ala kais or in davening. Kodim sheyavdil haynu afidu mishetech, even if it's after nacht. Given sheloi hivdil adayim, as you haven't made havdalah. Chal b'mixas Kodesh Shabbos olav also chazal b'melacha. It's still got the Kodesh of Shabbos, and therefore you should not do melacha midrabanan at all. In other words, you can't do any melacha, whether it's deraisa drabanan, after Shabbos until you've done havdalah. Omer Hamavdil, b'levush issa omer baruch Hamavdil ben Kodesh or ben hachol. That's what we say. When we call makom ein nikra zeh bracha, it's not considered the bracha. Given she'ein omer b'sheba b'shem malchus. Mashadai b'loshen zel in asiyas melacha shul leheker ba'amal lavoyses hamelech. That we're now accompanying the king out, and therefore you say that nusach. Bein HaKodesh, ve'ein tzarech lo'im kol haloshen shel havdalah. You don't have to say the whole nusach of havdalah. You can just literally say those words. Baruch Hamavdil ben Kodesh l'chol. And we call makom in achila lo'im mahani ad sheyavdil havdalah gemura ala kais. But when it comes to eating, you got to wait for the proper havdalah. For gam b'tefillah, where you've done both havdalah ala kais and in tefillah. Below bracha or v'yantuf. Now interesting. Shechol b'motzei Shabbos rotz lasos melacha eichel nefesh v'lo hivdil adayim b'tefillah. So you want to, let's say a wife at home, she wants to heat up the Yontif meal, so she should say Baruch Hamavdil ben Kodesh LeKodesh, because she's doing that before she's heard Havdalah at Kiddush Motzei Shabbos, which is the night of Yontif. Below Shem Malchus Mutter b'Melacha, and then she can do Melacha. Avol inyan at Te'ima Osa afilu Havdalah b'Tfilah Shama v'Shidyena Shekadish Kadin. But she shouldn't eat anything until she's heard Kiddush. Okay, back to the Ramah. Now, what about women and Havdalah? What about women doing Melacha before they've heard Havdalah? So, Hagar, says the Ramah, V'chein noshim, excuse me, V'chein noshim she'ein Hamavdilim b'tefillah, they don't daven mariv, generally. Yesh lelam don she'im Hamavdil ben Kodesh l'chol, kodim she'yasu Melacha. Women should also be told, they should be educated that they say that before they do any Melacha. It's a proper melacha. If it's a melacha gerua, it's a less of a melacha gemura, then we don't need to do that. That as soon as the kahal have said baruch hu, they can light candles already. That you don't do any melacha. You should draw water on Motzei Shabbos. Ki be'er shel Miriam, soivev kol Motzei Shabbos, kol ha'be'eres. The be'er of Miriam is somehow connected to all the various be'eres of Motzei Shabbos. Umisha pogeh bo v'yishtem mimenu yisrape mikol tachluov. It's merape. It heals. And I haven't seen people know like this. That if I'm still keeping Shabbos and you haven't, can I tell you to do melacha? Ayin Reish Samach Gimel. Okay, it says the Mishnah Berurah Sifkot and Lamed Zayin. So women are not einum avdilin. Hainu sherubon. Most women don't daven mariv on Motzei Shabbos. If you look at 36, nor dressed during the rest of the week. Women don't generally daven mariv, and why not? From its original inception, really mariv was considered rishus. We've been mekabel it now for many years. The Gemara says already as a chayva. But women were never mekabel mariv as a chayva, and therefore generally women don't daven mariv. Continuing the Mishnah Berurah, hatam. The truth is, once it's nacht, minat Torah, you can do melacha. Rag takonos chachomim hu shetzorach lahavdil l'kodim. There's a takona that you should make havdalah first. Hekilu b'melacha she'ein bo torach. They were makel with the melacha which has not got torach. Umizem mispashet haminuk. Now, I am b'magen Avram shemefakfik ma'id al minhag zeh. He doesn't like this whatsoever. V'chein beis Yosef, the minayin lanu lechalik be melacha melacha. Who can differentiate between this melacha, that melacha? Maybe the only kula is after you've made Havdalah in davening. You should educate your household. They shouldn't do any melacha until you said Baruch Hamavdil ben Kodesh L'chol. Where they're doing malacha gemura, to have malacha sheish bo terech ulekul almas also, they should certainly do it before that. V'chein kosu sha'achronim. And ha'ikah kisvar rishona, a baal nefesh yaseh k'moshe kosuv b'darchi Moshe b'shem arzarua v'chein issa b'zoya shelo lahadlik ne ad she'achas seder kedusha. You only do it after you've said v'yinoyam. Avol chazan hakneses mutar lahadlik, but the shamas can ne'echa echad shehivdil b'tfilah ayom Baruch Hamavdil ben Kodesh L'chol. Or he says Baruch Hamavdil ben Kodesh L'chol, then he can put on the lights. Mishum kavod hatzibur sheyeshim b'choshech. V'tiltel aneh shari l'kul amam. Tiltel, that would be okay, to move the candle. U'lahavi yaim b'yontav sheni acha shechoshcha, and that is also okay. Av shelo yispal adayin v'gam lo kiddush. Afilu hachishari to habazeh mishum melacha. Ein bazeh mishum melacha, because it's not really a melacha. You're just bringing a bottle of wine. Rak mishum hachana miyontav lechavere. It's midi hachana from one day of yontav to the next. For kivin shenitzkadesh hayom shari. Maharil hoya mekapel hatalish shelei b'chol motzei Shabbos kedei lisasik b'mitzvah miyad. Fascinating. The Maharil, straight after Shabbos, he would fold his talis. Now there's other reasons because of kibbutz and it's considered laundering to do it in the folds, but he would do it for a different reason. Kedei lisasik b'mitzvah miyad. I'm involved in the mitzvah straight away. Once, they also say it's a school of Shalom bias. I once saw a cartoon. There was like two captions. There was a guy folding his talis on Motzei Shabbos, and there was a picture of a woman up to her ankles in water with a sink, full of kalim, and it just says on it like what we the caption was what we do for Shalom bias. Yeah. Okay.